Today we're going to talk about the red pill, or what the real red pill is, which is in the Apocrypha, the godly and the evil woman. Now, in Western society, we see that the marriage dynamics have changed or are non-existent. We see in the so-called Black community single motherness at an all-time high because they don't promote the family structure or the family dynamic. They don't want to see the so-called Black man be the head of his family in righteousness, but rather as a sperm donor for other seed lines or even his own women. But we have to look at this and study and wonder why we're in the conditions that we're in. I mean, because the scriptures is plain and it tells us why we're in the conditions that we're in. A lot of the so-called Black women are out of line. And this video is not to bash so-called Black women, because at the end of the day, we all have to be accountable for our actions and our deeds. But more specifically, we're going to be talking about the good woman and the bad woman or evil woman. So let's begin. Verse 25, in three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before the Most High and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together. And not to digress, but oftentimes when we come into the truth, or the Most High has awakened our spirit to our heritage, to our ancestors, and who we were biblically in those times and still are today, that when choosing a wife, we have to look around and look at the landscape, because most women, whether they're so-called Black or white, are Babylonians, meaning that they adhere to the Babylonian culture and practices. So it's hard to find a righteous woman, or one who wants to listen and understand, even though she might fully not understand. Three sorts of men my soul hateth, and I am greatly offended at their life: a poor man that is proud, a rich man that is a liar, and an old adulterer that doeth. If thou hast gathered nothing in thy youth, how canst thou find anything in thy age? Or how comely a thing is judgment for gray hairs, and for ancient men to know counsel. And ancient just describes the people of color. Anything that's ancient is of Aboriginal or Indigenous, or what you call so-called Black. Oh, how comely is the wisdom of old man, and understanding and counsel to men of honor. Much experience is the crown of old man, and the fear of the Most High is their glory. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. In the 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that has joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding, and that has not slipped with his tongue, and that has not served a man more unworthy than himself. Well is him that has found prudence, and he that speaketh in the ears of them that will hear. Oh, how great is he that findeth wisdom! Yet is there none above him that feareth the Lord, or the Most High. But the love of the Lord passeth all things for illumination. He that holdeth it, whereto shall he be likened? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of his love, and the faith is the beginning cleaving unto him. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. So in other words, do not chase women. Put the Most High first. Your path will be more righteous and will be more lucrative, because women, and I don't mean this by any disrespect, are a nuisance at times, or a distraction to men. When you hear certain table talks or podcast talks about, I'm going to use this for example, when women put on makeup or they go out, what are they doing that for? To get attention, but more specifically for men, at least the women who are heterosexual. But it's always to galvanize or lure a man. Now, don't get me wrong, a woman in her right mind, in according to scriptures, is a helpmate. She'll help your life. She'll be a benefit to your life and your children and your progeny or whatnot. But a lot of these women out here ain't about shit. Reading on, and any affliction but the affliction from them that hate me, and any revenge but the revenge of my enemies. There is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Says a lot, right?
Trying to get ready for work. Look at him. This is sad case, y'all. He getting his stuff. Look at that. Sad case. As a father. Okay, Jeremy, what is the conversation you want to have?
We good.
Yeah. And your baby in the room?
You want to have? We good. Give me my phone, bro. Don't
what is the conversation you want to have? What's the conversation? Get out my he phone. Said, what's the conversation?
Don't touch me. I'll call the police over here. Do not touch me.
He said, what's the conversation y'all want to have?
Get on me.
What's the conversation you want to have?
I'm finna send Liz over here. She touched me, please.
Ain't nobody touching you.
Listen, my cousin over here. Do not touch me,
no,
bro.
nobody over here.
Oh, baby. Tell your daughter to keep her hands on me. Tell your daughter to keep her hands on me.
You the one slap me. You the one slap me. Hit me now. Hit me now.
Keep your hands on me.
What's up?
What's up, man?
I'm still asking what is the conversation.
Oh, man. That's what I'm finna do, I'm finna get up. I ain't really trying to argue at all. I'm just trying to get my...
No, you want to go tell your family about this, about that. You want to do this.
I'm trying to leave from over here and pee, man. I ain't trying to argue at all.
Ain't nobody... I'm going to take my car key off.
Don't my key.
Stop. What is the conversation? No, what's the conversation? What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on.
What's the conversation?
Keep your hands on. Don't touch me, bro.
So continuing in the video, she eventually killed her husband, Miss Khadijah Michelle Brown. She was a mother of 4, 28 years old. But let's read the story. Woman charged for murder of her husband live on Facebook, but they want to complain about TikTok because a lot of the truth and information is being spread on that platform. But you can murder someone live on Facebook. The hypocrisy, right? Reading on, Columbus, Mississippi, a Columbus woman is accused of shooting and killing her husband on Facebook Live. The shooting happened about 7:30 Saturday morning at Green Tree apartment. Lowndes County Sheriff Eddie Hawkins says Khadijah Brown and her husband Jeremy Brown had been arguing most of the night. He tells WCBI that Jeremy Brown was allegedly trying to leave the apartment and defuse the situation before being shot. He died in the home. The whole incident was being played out live on Facebook. Deputies were on the scene in a matter of minutes and were able to recover a handgun along with shell casing. Now, 28-year-old Khadijah Brown is charged with murder. She remains in Lowndes County Jail. And we know Satan works through the woman, or Ha-Satan, because Satan means adversary. In the Fawcett's Bible Dictionary, in the States, Ha-Satan or Satan equals adversary. 4 times in the Old Testament is a proper name. Job 1:6, 12 and 2 and 1. Zechariah 3. Let's see. The devil, see also 25 times. The prince of this world, 3 times for Satan. Had some mysterious connection with this earth and its animals before man's appearance. I'm not going to read everything. Let's see. The wicked one, 6 times. The tempter, twice. The old serpent, the devil, and Ha-Satan, who deceiveth the whole world. Okay? I mean, Satan can work through anybody, but more specifically through emotions and feelings. I feel like, what I feel like most of the times is not right, or I feel like this and that. Because that's why we don't go off our emotions. I can remember times when I was young, they said I was emotionless. You know what? Learning to control your emotions and your feelings is a good thing. You don't wear your emotions on the sleeve. Reading on, verse 17. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Verse 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. So in other words, do not fall for the outer appearance, the beauty. It's all vanity. Don't get me wrong, you can be attracted to a, nice woman, But what other qualities does she have? Does she listen to you? Does she help you? Is she there to benefit your life and your goals and your ambition? Is she there just to argue and tear you down and be disrespectful? Well, we're going to read in the next couple of verses what to do with that. Verse 22, a woman, if she maintaineth her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. In other words, if a woman is taking care of you and you have no job, no ambition, or lazy, then yes, she's going to have some type of feelings or emotions about you. She's going to feel some type of way. In other words, get your ass up, get some ambition, and do something with your life. Find a career, a trade, or whatnot. Do not let a woman rule over you. Our people are lacking a rulership mentality. The woman is not the head. The men are the creators of civilization, and everything in society that you see, the man has created for the woman to be comfortable in the environment that she's in. But as we can see, the breaking down of the society, more men are becoming feminine, more men are choosing to not date in the dating pool or go overseas, quote unquote, the passport bros. We have to have a rulership mentality to understand that we are the rightful rulers and we need strong men. And I'm gonna keep it real, how can you help a community when you can't even control your own household? When things are out of order, there's no structure. So a lot of times you hear certain women on different platforms, not all, talk about the black man. He's not doing this, he's not doing that. But like I said, we haven't developed a rulership mentality. If you can't control your home, your wife, or even your kids, how can you help or contribute to the community? Verse 23, a wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy accountant, and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Of the woman came the beginning of sin or iniquity, and through her we all die. Verse 25, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. So as we've seen in the clip earlier, the man was trying to diffuse a situation, the husband, and he was walking out. And what did the spirit of her vessel, what did it decide to do? Get a gun and shoot her husband on Facebook Live. No accountability, no thought of logical reasoning that, okay, if I shoot my husband, what is that going to solve? What is going to be the outcome of that decision, of my decision? What about my kids? What about my children? Will they be in foster care? Now they are, because of this idiotic woman and her dumb fleshly or her dumb emotions and feelings. And there's no justification of what she did, regardless of their marriage. You to yourself, you do not broadcast your lives on social media. So now we're on chapter 26, the virtuous woman or wife. Blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled, meaning she's not going to keep you in a headache or constant stress and whatnot, because she knows her role and you know your role. Verse 2, a virtuous woman rejoice her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that feareth the Lord or the Most High. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards the Lord or the Most High, he shall be at all times rejoiced with a cheerful countenance. There be three things that my heart feareth, and for the fourth I was sore afraid: the slander of a city, the gathering together of a unruly multitude, and a false accusation. All these are worse than death. Perfect example of this is the actor Jonathan Majors, who starred in the movie Creed 3. Now this all could very well be a ritual in Hollywood, or as they call it, a shaming ritual. But it says Jonathan Majors' attorney says the woman who accused him of assault has taken back her allegations after he was arrested in New York. An attorney for Majors said that he's innocent, and video evidence and witness statements will prove it. A lot of us Negroes ought to be glad about the video because, you know, it lets us see what really transpired versus he said or she said. Verse 6, but a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman, and a scourge of the tongue which commandeth withal. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He has hold of her as though he held a scorpion. Verse 8, a drunken woman and a gatter abroad causes great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. So it's letting us know that accountability is not the strongest characteristics of certain women and men as well. Verse 9, the whoredom of a woman may be known in her naughty looks and eyelids. And what do we see in Babylon or modern Babylon? That the woman's whoredom is celebrated. The slut walk and many other frivolous celebrations of the whoredom or OnlyFans, where women take off their clothes and do things just to obtain $1 from simps out there. Verse 10, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. And what is liberty? So the etymology of the word liberty, noun, late 14th century, free choice, freedom. And we know that freedom, take away the F-R-E, we get Edom, flee, Edom, to do as one chooses. Or in the words of Aleister Crowley, doeth thou wealth. All right. Also freedom from bondage of sin, from Old French, liberty, freedom, liberty, free will. Okay. Right here, absence of restraint. A lot of times the wall, if you flip it around, equals the law. So the four corners, you know, perimeters, structure, law, etiquette, moral. But when you have liberty to do as thou wilt, you know, you can do anything that you want. And most times, often, that leads to iniquity and sin and the wrong decisions. Verse 11, watch over a impudent eye and marvel not if she trespass against thee. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler.
Yeah, that's what the last guy said. Could you help me? The wheel came off. I can't fix it. Maybe if I could, but I can't.
And the only good thing about no soap.
When she had found a fountain and drank of every water near her, by every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Verse 13, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. Meaning the wisdom and the tranquility of peace to a man will strengthen his aura, or his, you know, his essence, his body. It will strengthen him. You know, his days will be long on the earth, as stated, right? Verse 14, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, or the Most High, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. So what does that mean? When a woman is silent, or she knows how to control her emotions and feelings, and doesn't just cut off people in conversations, or has a bad mouth, or, you know, wicked mouth, you know, she's well instructed. She had a father in her life.
How are you going to help Haitians as a nation?
Right.
Sweetheart, you talk to your ancestors? Do you talk to your ancestors? Do you talk to your fucking ancestors? Answer me.
Give me Ecclesiastes 5:1, man.
Christianity ain't doing shit for me. I'm pagan. I already
You
told
be
you what I'm
pagan, and you're going to die and you're pagan.
Yep, I sure am. I'm going to die by the old
Ecclesiastes
I'm going to die by the old
chapter 5, keep thy foot. Keep thy
What
foot.
the Bible say?
Keep thy
The Bible
foot.
say keep your foot, man.
on the lady's neck.
When thou goest to the
But
house
you're a
of
man,
your
dog.
house.
I
What
got
do
you
you
acting like a hoe.
And people ready to hear.
It takes one to know one if I am.
Oh, really? You may better watch
What
your
about
phone,
that?
sir, 'cause my
And people
dad was
ready
shit
to
on
hear.
here.
And people ready to
If
hear.
you're ready to hear, then what?
That to give the sacrifice of fools.
Now, if we're saying something
So
wrong,
what you do for your
if we're saying
community then?
something wrong,
What do
if
you
we're
do for
doing
your
something
community?
wrong, why would you sing
What
that
you
about
do
your
for your
afternoon?
community?
You have
Nothing.
a dinner representation.
What you
and
do
argue
for
with
your
grown men
community?
about it.
Right.
What you do for your community?
Now, I use this video as an example because right here we see the loud, obnoxious so-called black woman. And this doesn't represent all so-called black women, especially not the virtuous woman. But as we can see, this woman right here is a quote-unquote pagan, right? She prays to her ancestors. And these brothers are not out selling drugs. They're not Pookie and Ray Rays. They're out here teaching the laws and the statutes of the Most High to the lost and scattered, that being the Negroes, or the four corners of the earth. This woman has a disdain for black men speaking in authority. And of course, she has her white liberal husband or boyfriend somewhere in her life, probably not a father, or disdain for so-called black men. And as we can see, her spirit is obnoxious. And this Caucasian, or what we called so-called white or Edomite, is standing behind this loud, obnoxious woman, which is a joke, but why would you want to wife this woman up? Look how belligerent and ignorant she's acting, yelling and being obnoxious. One more note to add that 2/3 of our people will be destroyed or have to go, meaning if they don't get reformed, they'll get removed. You don't see this with any other quote-unquote race or seed line of other women, okay? It's only here in the Western world that these loudmouth so-called black women and other races of women, not all, but have a disdain for authority and rulership. Look at Kevin Samuels, okay? Look at the aspect of what he was trying to teach. They had a woman praising his death.
What are you doing?
So back up.
Come here, baby.
No, but what are you doing?
I just want to know.
Yeah, that's right. Get what you were pressing. Back up.
First of all, what you mean give my presence and back up? I'm pagan. So I'm pagan. I love every fucking body.
Now, the ignorance of this so-called black woman, she just stated that she loves everyone, but she had a disdain for Christianity, not knowing that Christianity and paganism blended with each other, So she's being a hypocrite in that essence.
I know you do. I know you do.
I believe in more than one God. Trust and believe me. Trust and believe me. I got you out your body, though. I got you out your body. I got you out your body.
No, but you guys are starting to
No
piss me
hand
off.
joining hands.
I got you out your body.
The wicked.
And what you do to help your community? And what you do to help your community? What do you do to help your community?
What? And we're not even listening to her. The sister don't
And
want to talk.
that's because you don't listen
The
to
sister don't wanna
women.
talk, man.
Let me tell y'all
You don't wanna
something. The
talk, man.
Israelites,
You
they
don't wanna talk. You wanna
disrespect
talk?
women.
You
They
wanna
think that
talk?
women are
You
beneath
wanna
them.
talk?
You
We
are a
love women.
misogynistic
Do you wanna
prick.
talk?
Now, she used the key word misogynistic prick. Now, a lot of times when our brothers are telling the truths or trying to tell the origins of our history, it comes off as harsh. I mean, the truth is a harsh pill to swallow, right? The truth is a hard pill to swallow. But, when black men have an authority and moral compass, it's always twisted as misogynist pig or, many other different words that they use. But these men are not out here or killing or stealing. They're quoting from a 2,000-year-old book or letters or the diary of our ancestors, okay? The prophets, Moses, Yahweh, etc. This woman is very ignorant and, she has a liberty to speak whatever she wants to speak. But as we can see, she has no filter.
You want to talk or you
What do you
want to
want to talk about?
I guarantee you ain't none of y'all got custody of y'all fucking
What's
kids.
the point of contention?
I guarantee you.
Back up. Release.
I got this, boo. I guarantee you.
That's right.
You ain't
That's
gotta
right.
help
Do
me.
that
I'm a
again.
strong
That's
black
right.
woman.
Yeah.
No hand joining hands.
about people in hate. That's right.
Sir, you just see you cut that on
Chapter
yourself.
11, verse 21.
He's not
Don't
friends.
hand join in hand.
Read.
The wicked.
You know what?
The
We're
wicked.
gonna keep bringing it out, man. I actually want to have a conversation, but you keep going control your spirit.
You know why I don't want to talk to you? Because you're a misogynistic prick.
Read.
You're misogynistic.
What we believe is.
You're misogynistic. I guarantee you ain't got custody of your kids,
I don't
bro.
even have children.
I guarantee you don't. And if you did, I promise you don't. Y'all don't do shit for y'all fucking community.
Whoa.
But talk
So is
shit.
voodoo gonna help
But
us?
talk shit.
Is voodoo gonna help us?
I bet you it do help my people.
What about all of us? Is it gonna help all
You
of
don't
us?
practice.
That's right.
You don't even honor your ancestors.
That's right. I honor my ancestors by keeping the laws of
That's
our
right.
That's
No,
right.
no, you don't. Our ancestors that believe in that.
Verse 15. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. As the sun when it arises in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. As the clear light is upon the holy candle stick, so is the beauty of the face in ripe age. As the golden pillars are upon the sockets of silver, so are the fair feet with a constant heart. My son, keep the flowers of thy age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thy own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock, meaning your own kind, right? The woman is the potting soil, the man is the seed, and life grows after that. Verse 21, so thy race, which means seed line, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. A harlot shall be accounted as spit or spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. Verse 23, a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Most High. A dishonest woman contempteth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, meaning a but she that is shamefaced will fear the Most High. So oftentimes they use euphemisms in the scriptures, a mild or indirect word or expressing substituted for one considered to be too harsh, as we've seen dog or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. Okay, a polite term, substitute. Continuing reading on, verse 26, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that has dishonored him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. A loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies. Verse 28, there be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry, a man of war that suffereth poverty, and man of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin. The Most High prepareth such as one for the sword. A merchant shall hardly keep himself from doing wrong, and a huckster shall not be freed from sin. So this will conclude the video. Overall, it's stated what a godly and a virtuous woman is versus a evil woman who can't control their mouths. So peace.